Well, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Thank you for joining us today. My name is David Wright, and I'll be hosting today's webinar, where we'll be listening to a service desk certification journey. And for those of you that don't know what that is, or maybe want to learn a little bit more about certification, or as we call it, SDC, stick around because today we'll be sharing some really insightful information and learnings from one of those journeys. And we're joined today by our guest speaker, who's Greg Winkle, platform support team leader at Domino's. So welcome, Greg. Thanks for joining us today. It's great to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. And I'm certainly looking forward to what we're going to be discussing today. And you can see briefly what that looks like. So yeah, much of it is focused on the journey that Domino's have gone through as well. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions today, Greg. I'm sure there will be. All right. So listeners, please post your questions or observations, even using the question mark icon in the panel, and we'll get to as many of those as we can a little bit later on in the Q&A, time permitting. So, Greg, without further ado, it's over to you, I think.
Perfect. Thank you. Let me just share my screen. Hopefully you can see that now. So perfect. Thank you very much, David, for that introduction. And yeah, a huge thank you to, again, the SDI team for today's invite. And I'm genuinely delighted to be here speaking with you today. It's a real privilege to be part of this fantastic community, and hopefully I can share some helpful insights with you in today's webinar, which is something I'm truly passionate about, and I'm so proud of the journey that not only my team has made over the years, but my personal journey to probably arguably my biggest career success to date. So delivering more than pizza, how we built a high-performing, customer-obsessed service desk. So I guess for those who don't know me, I'm Greg Winkle, and I work within the platform engineering and architecture team as a platform support team leader at Domino's Pizza UK and ROI. I lead a brilliant team focused on delivering resilient, customer-centered support across our platform. And my role is all about enabling operational excellence, driving service improvements, and making sure that our users have the best possible experience, whether that's through technology, process, or people. I joined Domino's in September 2020, so pandemic time, in fact, lockdown number one, in fact. So as the platform engineering and architect team leader. So I'm responsible for the overall support of DPG corporate IT. And that team consists of 6 engineers, one of which is an apprentice, and we support just over 800 users across 8 sites around the UK and ROI. And that team support everything from first line level fixes to infrastructure level changes, and we monitor multiple corporate technologies and services, including our website and various store systems. More so recently, I'm now looking after and lead the stores technology team, and this is the team who support all of our applications and EPOS systems in our stores. And this team is built up of 11 people, including sort of delivery leads, BAs, service engineers, testers, developers, and architects. And just to top it all off, I'm also part of the major incident management team as well as one of the managers. So yeah, quite full on, but yeah, for me, that's a bit of an introduction for you. And so let's begin really in terms of our journey from sort of challenge to capability. So when I first joined the team in 2020, the team were operating with numerous challenges, but none of which couldn't be embraced and enhanced with the right support. Our processes lacked cohesion and service delivery was pretty much inconsistent. Much of our work was reactive, not proactive, which led to extended resolution times and ultimately a dip, no pun intended, in customer satisfaction. There were gaps in technical capability and the absence of a solid foundation support, of a solid foundation to support meaningful change. So it's important to note that we are not a typical service desk. I've worked for MSPs and internal service desks for some of the largest organizations in the UK. And platform support is not viewed as one of those. So recognizing the need for transformation, our first priority was to lay the groundwork for long-term success. So in 2021, we actually reached out to SDI, not to pursue the accreditation, but actually to gain an evaluation of our operations at that time. And this collaboration provided us with valuable insights and practical recommendations that became the blueprint of our improvement efforts. We scored quite a measly 1.58, which for those who don't know is quite far off the required score to even achieve a 2-star award. And as you'll see in some of the up and coming slides, the journey and progress we've made since 2021 has been nothing short of transformative. This has not only reshaped our capabilities, but also positioned us to meet future demands with confidence. In late 2022, during a critical transition period with the team and performance levels were pretty much at an all-time low, we worked alongside a service partner to help us support this strategic move and help us maintain operational stability and mitigate the risk of attrition whilst we restructured internally. And just 12 months later, we had developed that internal strength and expertise needed to bring all support functions back in-house. And at the start of 2024, we completed that transition to a fully internal support model. We also expanded our on-site engineering presence, which significantly enhanced our responsiveness and service quality. And again, what's important to note in today's session is that change rarely happens overnight. Our journey has taken years. Everyone is on their own journey, and every journey, to be honest with you, has its own destination. And people, for me, are at the heart of this process. And once you have the right people, you've laid that foundation. From there, the destination almost becomes secondary, because when everyone is fully committed, the journey itself actually becomes the achievement. And that is certainly how my team feel about the SDI achievements. And you'll see that a bit more later. So why we entered the program? Well, when we joined the program, we were at a pivotal point. Our service delivery, again, like I mentioned, was inconsistent, and we lacked the structure needed to scale effectively. From a business perspective, we needed a framework that would help us mature our operations, improve customer satisfaction, and build a more resilient support model. Personally, I saw this as an opportunity to challenge myself and as a leader to step back, reflect, and reimagine how we could deliver value, not just more efficiently, but more meaningfully. So a bit of a true story. So my boss actually came to me at the end of January last year, as the budget season was coming to a close, and basically called me out of the blue and said, listen, we've got X amount of budget left for this year. I don't want to lose it. And so what I think we should do is, I think you're ready to take on the SDI and go for the SDC and the accreditation. So can you speak to them right now and literally get a quote, get a purchase order, and get it completed today? And I was, a little bit starstruck at that point. I didn't know what to say. So I was like, you know what, fine, I'll do that. And so I reached out to the SDI team and did exactly that. So when we had our initial audit in April, we got our indicative rating. And again, as some of you know, you've got 9 months to gather that kind of evidence ahead of your official audit. And at the time when we got our indicative score, I remember, because my boss turned around again and said, Greg, you can do that in half the time, aim for September. I thought he was joking. Actually, it turns out he really wasn't. And so by September 2024, we did successfully achieve our official accreditation by achieving a 2-star award. So, but for reference, just so you know, it was a lot of late evenings, long weekends, which in hindsight probably wasn't ideal. However, me being me, I just wanted to show that it could be done. It's important to note that, again, we're not a typical service desk, and this isn't by all means groundbreaking by any stretch of the imagination. But for us, it was a giant step in the right direction, because as an internal IT support operation who serve internal customers, it's been inherently more challenging for us to attain this accreditation. Some of the areas within the standard concepts don't actually apply to us at all, which means that we had to mature significantly in other areas across the board. So this journey has required us to enhance our processes, improve our service delivery, and continuously strive for excellence. Our progress, to be honest, is a testament to the hard work and the commitment of the entire team. However, again, we recognize that there's still a long way to go. Our aim is to achieve a 3-star rating, if not this year, when Steve comes back, but certainly within the next 12 months, and who knows, even 4 or 5 stars in the years to come. We are committed to further improving our services, embracing new challenges, and setting higher standards for ourselves. The journey continues, and we are excited about what the future holds and the possibilities look like. Plus, at the time, and to be fair, even right here, right now, it still feels great to tell the rest of the business that actually platform support sets the standard for IT service operations by consistently delivering exceptional service quality, innovation solutions, and unparalleled customer satisfaction. Well, that was until the store service desk, who I dare say did copy us, but I won't mention that in more detail. But this year, they actually also achieved their 2-star accreditation. And to be honest, there's a little bit more on that a little later. So what we wanted to achieve, well, two things really, or two different angles. So from a business perspective, we wanted to embed the best practices, reduce reactive firefighting, and create a proactive customer-centric support culture. And then from my team perspective, I wanted to empower the team, build that confidence, and create a shared sense of purpose that would drive continuous improvement. And when we entered the program, we did so with a clear sense of purpose and a strong desire to evolve, not just as a team, but like I say, as a strategic function within the business. Our primary goal was to embed best practices that would bring consistency, efficiency, and quality to our operations. We were determined to mainly achieve 4 things. One, move away from a reactive firefighting model. We've probably all been there, and wanted to build a more proactive, preventative approach to support. Number 2 is to establish a customer-centric culture where service excellence wasn't just a goal, it was a standard. Third thing was, well, create a scalable support framework that could adapt to the growing and changing needs of the organization. And finally, use data and insights, of course, to drive smarter decisions and continuous improvement. We wanted to ensure that our support function wasn't just operationally sound, but also strategically aligned with the wider business objectives. So we conducted comprehensive baseline assessments with SDI to identify gaps and opportunities. So we introduced standard operating procedures that align with the industry frameworks. We implemented performance dashboards to track key metrics such as response and resolution times, as well as customer satisfaction, all things that we never had before. We shifted from ad hoc response to structured incident and problem management workflows, and we regularly reviewed customer feedback to inform of service improvements. For me, on a personal level, I saw it as an opportunity to lead with intent and impact. I wanted to empower the team and give them the tools and the confidence and clarity they needed to thrive and be successful. Most importantly, I think build a culture of ownership and accountability where everyone felt invested in the outcomes. Foster a shared sense of purpose so that every team member understood how their work contributed to the bigger picture, as well as develop leadership within the team. Create the future-ready professionals who could carry the torch forward. This isn't just about fixing problems; it's about unlocking potential, and that mindset has shaped every step of our journey since. It was the little things that we started doing at the start of our journey which helped, and that was, again, we launched team workshops to encourage open dialogue and shared ownership. We created individual development plans and supported training opportunities. This is a big one for me, celebrating wins, big or small, and that is, to build morale and reinforce progress. And finally, encourage cross-functional collaboration to break those silos and build that trust. So how the program shaped our strategy? Well, it gave us clarity. It helped us focus on what really matters: customer outcomes, team capability, and operational excellence. It wasn't just about ticking boxes. It was about building a strategy rooted in insight and aligned with our long-term goals. We leveraged the program's assessments and feedback loops to systematically identify service gaps, prioritize improvements, and monitor our progress. This structured approach enabled us to evolve from a reactive support to a more proactive, resilient model. The platform support promise has since become the foundation of our KPIs and SLAs and is now fully embedded into our daily operations. And for me, it's more than just a framework, it's a commitment. A commitment from the platform support team to our end users that every ticket will be acknowledged, progressed, and resolved within the agreed SLAs. Now, we only launched the platform support promise in last year, and it was designed to deliver secure, supported, and stable platforms for business-critical systems. It also ensures that these platforms continue to evolve through a culture of innovation and continuous improvement. Again, we started off by doing the simple things to kick us off on our journey. We actively started to understand and evolve our platform architecture, including enhanced monitoring and enhancing our ITSM platform. We created a culture of technical awareness and innovation across the team, which included training and development plans, as well as, like I say, inviting the team to share ideas on how they wanted to be more proactive as a team, enhancing delivery output and its visibility, and most importantly, share that with our customers. And by giving them that transparency, they could also see the journey we were on and what we continue to wanted to be on. And talking of customers, the impact on our customer experience. Now, I won't go through. Here's just some examples of some of the comments that we've got. I could have chosen so many more, but our resolution times have improved. Our service is far more consistent, and we're hearing more positive feedback from our customers. They've noticed a difference, not just in outcomes, but in how we engage with them. And again, I remember a conversation back in 2021 with a certain John Nocta, as part of our first ever audit he conducted. And he said to me quite simply, "Show me your self-service portal." I almost wanted to end that call there, and because I was just so embarrassed to say that we don't even have one. And today I've been told by our ITSM provider, Halo, that we probably have one of the best self-service portals that they've seen from design to services offered. We developed the first ever platform support customer experience program, a customer experience program that is dedicated to keeping our customers at the heart of everything we do. The program includes many things, but here's just an overview. A comprehensive end-to-end experience of the ticket journey, detailing how to contact us and what to expect in return. Improved methods of capturing feedback and reviewing those comments to turn them into actionable improvements for our service. The tool and the provider that we partnered up with actually allows us to customize the little things, such as tags, which can be options that customers can select if the engineer was, for example, knowledgeable, polite, through to response times and how proactive they were. We can actually change the faces that they actually click on as well. And more so, when they click on that image, they will see a picture of the engineer who resolved their ticket. Again, it just makes that experience just that little bit more personable. We also do loads of themes throughout the year, and for things like sporting events or general events going on around the world. For example, Wimbledon recently, we changed the faces to sort of happy, neutral, and angry tennis balls. The Euros and our Lionesses, we changed them to, again, happy, neutral, angry sort of football faces. And again, our customers love it, so much so that we've gone from a response rate of around about 6 to, if I want to be generous, 8%, to now nearly 30% of our tickets we get feedback for now. So it does have a massive impact. In addition, our NPS campaigns. So we run monthly and quarterly to capture even more feedback from our customers to continue that feedback journey. And if that wasn't enough, customers can actually jump onto our self-service portal and simply request to be part of an ad hoc NPS campaign if they wanted to. And finally, training and development. Again, we focus on the customer service, the soft skills, both verbal and chat sort of communication. And again, this all started because we introduced a new initiative into the team called Bringing Customers to Life. That Bringing Customers to Life is a program in which we hold sessions that are designed to deepen our understanding and empathy for our end users or our customers by humanizing and tailoring their experiences and needs. These monthly sessions typically involved sharing details or stories, effectively conducting mini interviews, or using other techniques to gather insights and create more personal connection with our customers. And last year we held over 20 sessions, and we were able to implement enhancements to help our customers to be able to deliver a better service and enhance their day-to-day routine. This year we've simply followed up on those sessions. We've interviewed the same people because we wanted to showcase what we have changed since the last conversation, and of course understand if there's anything that we should be focusing on next for them. Of course, we're going to be expanding that to the wider network as well. So far, and again, in the handful of sessions that we've had so far this year, all have been very constructive and very positive. So how the business views this achievement, really? Well, what started as a support initiative has become a model for how structured improvement can drive real value. It's helped alleviate the perception of our team from a reactive function to a strategic enabler. And I even designed this little logo for us as well, which we put on all of our tickets as well, because we are genuinely proud of our 2-star award. The transformation we've undergone hasn't gone unnoticed. In fact, like I say, has made such an impression, it's inspired others in the business to follow suit. The official, what we call service desk team at Domino's, the one that supports our stores where you go buy pizza, took note of our journey. And earlier this year, like I say, they too achieved their STI accreditation, proudly earning as well a 2-star award. Our CEO, Andrew Rennie, only recently promoted this achievement personally at our recent rally a couple of weeks ago for our franchisees. The accreditation theme has gone beyond that. Even our customer care team are now in the middle of an accreditation to improve our customer experience for those who physically buy our pizzas. This ripple effect, to be honest, is a testament of the value and credibility of the work we've done. It's not just about one team improving, it's about raising the bar across the entire organization. And now, quite simply, Domino's is proud to say that it has 2 accredited support teams, hopefully a 3rd one soon, one focused on corporate users and one dedicated to our stores. That dual coverage means that the business can operate with greater confidence, knowing that both ends of the support spectrum are in capable hands. From where we started to where we are now, this is a huge step forward in our ambition to be the #1 in the industry, not just in service delivery, but in setting the standard for excellence. And of course, I now find myself in a friendly rivalry with the service desk every year now, to try and outdo each other effectively with our audit scores. So if our auditor's watching, Steve, take note before you come back in a couple of months, please. That would be helpful, because we're slightly behind now. So the team impact and the culture. So for me, the impact on the team has been incredible. There's a stronger sense of ownership, pride and momentum. You know, this is my team here. People feel part of something bigger, and they're not just doing the tasks, they're contributing to a vision. And for me, I think that's powerful. The transformation program didn't just change our processes, it genuinely reshaped our team culture in a profound way. From the outset, one of our key goals was to build a sense of ownership and pride within the team. And today that goal has been realized. There's a notable shift in how the team approaches their work. They're no longer just completing tasks, they're actually contributing to a shared vision. Everyone understands the why behind what we do. And that clarity has fueled a powerful sense of purpose. The program created space for personal development. Team members who once hesitated to speak up are now leading initiatives and individual or team projects. Confidence has grown across the board, and people are stepping up into new responsibilities, most importantly, with enthusiasm. We've seen engineers take ownership of things like site deployments, drive process improvements, enhance our knowledge tools. The engineers proactively identify and resolve the issues before they escalate as well, which is a huge thing for me. You know, one of the most rewarding outcomes is that the team now runs a seamless operation even without my direct involvement. Processes are embedded, communication is fluid, and decisions are made with confidence. I've gone from being a central point of coordination to just being a strategic advisor, really, which is exactly where a leader should be when a team is empowered to do their job. They've built something sustainable, and quite frankly, they're proud of it. There's a real buzz in the team, a sense of, you know, we're building something meaningful here. Wins are celebrated, lessons are shared, and challenges are met with curiosity rather than hesitation. Motivation isn't driven by pressure, it's driven by purpose. So, and we've gone from a reactive support function to a proactive, self-sufficient team that's just aligned now, better, energized, and ready for what's next. So what value has it created? Well, I could have probably spent the next 2 days talking through some statistics, but I pulled out some probably our most concerning ones, that where we used to be versus where we are now. The value goes beyond metrics for me. It's in the confidence of the team, the trust of our customers, and the credibility we've built across the business. And that, for me, is the real return on investment. We implemented a digital workplace strategy that not only streamlined internal operations, but also significantly enhanced the customer experience. Like I say, previously, our systems were reactive, resulting in longer resolution times, sometimes not even getting contact at all. To address this, we moved to our own ITSM tool, away from actually the rest of the business as well, where we integrated our platform so that we could create more automation and optimized tools that we use, enabling us to shift from, like I say, reactive firefighting to a more proactive service excellence. The SDC framework, again, has been instrumental in our transformation. It provided structure and clarity, allowing us to document processes more thoroughly than ever before. This has helped us showcase how innovation and service quality has improved across the board. The most visible results for me, are what you can see on screen now. And so the resolution times, for instance requests have improved significantly. The cost per ticket as well, where it used to be versus where it is now. Again, I could sit here and bore you with so many more facts and figures, but I've only got a certain amount of time today. But if you do want more information, there'll be some contact details in this and we can talk. We've automated routine tasks like granting Office 365 access outside of the UK, and we've even built a bespoke IDAM, Identity Access Management solution, that handles the entire JML process, including stuff like group assignments, with just a single click. We've automated several previously manual reports using SQL scripts within Halo. These now run and distribute automatically and displayed using Power BI, saving, again, hours each week and month. We've invested in our team's growth through continuous training and development. And for me, the result, well, I think a high-performing team, considering the size and the estate that we support. They've resolved tickets faster, more effectively, and with the customer experience always at the front of their mind. Following either feedback via our problem management sessions, we developed targeted knowledge-based articles to address reoccurring issues and launched self-service tools with proactive updates via Blink, which is our internal social media platform. And as well as our self-service portal, again, we're starting to now look at even creating videos, sort of self-service triage videos to reduce that manual intervention and empower our users. AI-driven triage and automation has reduced manual workloads. For example, we've implemented self-healing scripts for things like CPU alerts, disk space utilization, and other common monitoring triggers. We've now also embedded AI insights into our ITSM tool, allowing us to view ticket summaries, suggested ticket categories, and even tone analysis, as well as suggested fixes. So we feel like the SEC has helped us along with certain areas. And again, those areas for me are from a customer-centric initiatives and programs like Bringing Customers to Life, and the platform support customer experience has helped tailor services to real user needs. We've got a real strategic influence now, and I'm happy to say that platform support now plays a role in IT decision-making, including supplier contract renewals. Our visibility and influence across the organization has also grown too. And finally, from a financial and environmental impact, we've consolidated tools, improved forecasting, and introduced sustainable practices. And it can be the little things, from switching off entire floors in our office spaces to save power, or even switching from air to sea freight, for hardware orders. And we also do a lot of recycling and reselling hardware through our WE compliant vendors as well. So where we're aiming next, for me, our focus is on automation, knowledge management, and deeper integration with our business. We want to be the center of excellence. We want to be agile and data driven, and always improving, to be honest with you. On screen here, I'll come on to that in just a second, but from an automation perspective, our transformation journey is far from over. In fact, we see this as just the beginning. The next phase of our evolution is focused on a number of strategic pillars, and like I say, automation being the first one. So we aim to reduce manual effort and increase efficiency by automating repetitive tasks and standard workflows. This will free up our team to focus on higher value activities such as proactive problem solving and innovation. Automation will also help us scale more effectively and deliver faster, more consistent service. Innovation, so on screen here. So we're always looking at ways to enhance our customer experience. And I attended the brilliant Spark 25 event early this year, which, and one of the SDI partners called LapSafe, who specialize in AI smart lockers and vending machines. Pretty cool. I'd suggest you have a look at them. For me, events like this get you networking with businesses and people who can help you on your journey. And for us, I'm pleased to say that we've even got a proof of concept starting later this year with LapSafe, so that we can offer our more remote users same-day fixes on hardware tickets. Just similar to an Amazon locker in that sense. They can go up, self-serve themselves, take out any hardware, put theirs in, and then we'll collect it. From a customer experience standpoint, we're in the process of now also exploring going from CapExing our hardware to a leasing model, which opens up so many benefits, such as customers will now have a fully managed laptop refresh program, which in every 3 years they'll be using the latest and greatest technology without even prompting it. We will be able to see even more insights on laptop performance and hardware performance generally. And if there's an issue, we'll be able to fix it even before the customer reports it. It also comes with some huge sustainable benefits because when we ship hardware back, it will obviously get ethically wiped and then sent for reuse for a second life somewhere else. All this while, to be honest, saving a bit of cash as well, because there'll be a residual value at the end of this, which we put back into new hardware. We're investing in building a robust, accessible knowledge base that empowers both our team and our users. And by capturing and sharing expertise, we'll reduce resolution times, again, improve first-time fix rates, and support continuous learning. This will also help onboard new team members more quickly and consistently. We want to move beyond being just a support function. We want to be that strategic partner. That means embedding ourselves more deeply in business processes, understanding evolving needs, and co-creating solutions. We're aligning our goals with the broader business objectives, like I say, and to ensure that we're delivering measurable value. Ultimately, our ambition is to become the center of excellence. A team that is agile, able to adapt quickly, to change and lead through uncertainty. Data-driven by using insights, like I mentioned, to guide decisions and measure impact, continuously improving by always learning and always evolving. This vision isn't just aspirational, it's genuinely actionable. And we've already laid the groundwork to make it a reality. For me, that brings me to the end of my session. And once again, thank you all so much for your time and attention. It's been a real pleasure sharing my journey and the lessons we've learned as a team. I hope you found something useful and inspiring to take away from today. A huge thank you again for the SDI team for the opportunity to be part of this fantastic event. And of course, my contact details are on screen. I'll leave those on screen for now. I'd love to, answer any questions and open up the floor. And, if not, I'd love to be able to connect with some of you post this event. Thank you very much for listening.
Excellent. Yeah, some really good stuff in that. And we've got a few questions come through. I've got my own questions as well, Greg, which we'll probably cover off. But it's a fantastic sort of story, and the way that it's been positioned. Because these things, you don't just get into a certification program and expect results like that. You've got to put hard work into it. It is time consuming. It is culture affecting, culture changing. So some of that is brilliant. We've got some questions come through. The first question is a probably the easiest one from Simon. Do we get free pizza?
So not right now. However, on Tuesdays we do 2 for Tuesdays. If you buy one, technically you do get one for free. So on Tuesdays, yeah. But right now, sadly not. Sorry.
That's a shame. Just really, I'm disappointed as well, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully that answered the question, Simon. I'll come on to the other ones. I just want to talk about the change in the team, right? What sort of, through the program that you've worked on so far, what's been the biggest impact on how the team has changed, sort of culturally, mindset around quality, because if you, not having a self-service portal, that there are still organizations out there that haven't got one, but you've recognized the value that would add, and what have you. What does that mean for the team? How has their culture changed around what quality means?
Yeah, so I guess the most transformative sort of aspect of the STC program for our team has been the focus on managing the customer experience piece. That concept for us was so key. It was fundamental how we shifted the team's approach and their work and how they present themselves professionally. This accreditation journey instilled a deeper understanding of what it truly means to deliver exceptional service and awareness, to be honest with you, as of the daily operation and how that's embedded into them. Team members, like I said to you before, immerse themselves. They're very proud of what they do. They recognize that every interaction not just is a reflection on them as an individual, but us as a team as a whole. And again, that sort of sense of shared accountability has elevated our standards and strengthened our culture. And I think probably most importantly, we've embraced that mindset of continuous improvement now. You know, we don't just tick a box when it's completed. Like I say, we reflect on how it could have been done better. And this is especially evident, you know, how we respond to negative feedback, for example. You know, engineers actually take ownership of it themselves. You know, they've got a follow-up process. They reach out to our customers directly, listening to their concerns and proactively identifying ways of how they can actually improve that service going forward, and how they can just, again, ultimately continue to learn.
That's really interesting. And have you seen the shift, you know, over the period pre and post? Have you seen that sort of shift? Have you nurtured that shift? Has it been apparent?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I guess, you know, when we brought in that tool, and I can talk about it more after this, is you know, I also, alongside that, I brought in a little bit of gamification as well. So, you know, for me, I wanted to try and drive more feedback, good, bad, or indifferent. So I sort of, again, got the people in the team to sort of go against themselves, you know, try and challenge themselves and be a bit more competitive. So driving that challenge, you know, would earn them, you know, so many vouchers in whatever they wanted to spend them on. Basically, Amazon was a popular one, I think. So yeah, and I think ultimately, you know, they would, after every ticket, go back to the customer, proactively ask for that feedback. Again, you know, we have got some customers who just hate clicking on that feedback face. You know, they will go against it. They don't believe in feedback or whatever. But now we've managed to turn them around, you know, because they now can see that the service that we're offering now actually, and I'll go back to a conversation that I had with a previous talker at the Spark event. You know, I almost want to build that service desk now where, you know, the operation is so seamless and so frictionless that people don't even believe it exists. And for me, going back to the tool of the laptops and the hardware where we can monitor things more proactively, you know, we can fix things before customers even notify us, basically. So they may not soon, even though we exist, who knows? But no, that's kind of where we're looking to go anyway.
Good. That sounds good. For anybody who wants to take Greg's contact details who hasn't yet, I'm just going to pull the slides off shortly. So you've got a couple of seconds maybe before we remove that. So please do connect if
Sure.
you want to. Bacola, love to see you. Bacola asked, what type of things do you celebrate? You mentioned you celebrated sort of big things, small things. What type of things did you celebrate from a wins perspective?
Yeah, definitely. So again, I would always get my team together at the end of each quarter and reflect back. So every week we do a weekly report with the team, and this is successes of what they've achieved that week, you know, and whether it be changes that they've implemented to, and what those changes meant for the rest of the business. You know, it could be anything from, you know, making changes to our laptops, you know, the way that they operate, the way that, you know, the applications run through, that kind of thing, you know. So we would run weekly sessions where we would, like I say, detail all those successes, and at the end of each quarter we would get together, review all of those again, and simply pick out what we think was the top 3 or 5. And, you know, it could be anything small, from, like I say, a simple network change that enhanced productivity in the warehouse for our SECs, you know, from picking and packing and scanning and sending all of our produce out to our stores, all the way through to application packaging and deploying out applications to our end users. You know, it's little things like that we celebrate. And again, going back to the whole negative comments or anything that we get, you know, from customer feedback, if there were anything that come through from that, again, we would celebrate what did we do to turn that around? Have we turned it around? Have we since sort of got that customer into a better position where they feel more confident? And, you know, probably the more recent one, I should say, is in one of our sessions that we had, you know, one of our customers, because we're not really Mac heavy within the organization, it's predominantly Windows. One of our users actually says, you know, I just go down to the local Mac store, to be honest with you, the local Apple store, to get support, which was a bit of a dagger to the heart. So what I've done since then is we've got a couple of MacBook Pros brought into the team from a couple of the team who were intrigued of going on to that, and they're now on courses to upskill themselves, enhance themselves, you know, in terms of that model. And soon I'm going to be able to turn around to the rest of the business and say, hey, look, did you know we've now listened to your feedback, and this is now what we're doing.
Good. That sounds really, really interesting, actually. We've got some more questions, which we'll focus on, I think, Greg. Azim has asked, who are your customers? Because, as you said, it isn't particularly, you know, maybe what people would think about from a service desk, what a service desk is, right? So maybe explain what the service is, how you support. So, yeah, who are your customers? Internal Domino staff? Does it include customers who use the website? Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. So when I say the word customer, I mean it could be our support teams, our support head office functions, finance, marketing, all those kinds of teams. Our customers are our head office users who we know and love and get on with. They're our colleagues at the end of the day. But we treat them as customers because we want them to, again, have that experience of, I've got a problem. They're only going to speak to us when they have a problem, right? So, they come to us. We hopefully at that point can fix it straight away and get them back up and operational. So when I refer to the word customer, it is, John in accounts, or, Felicity in finance, that kind of thing. So it's those customers that I refer to is our colleagues.
Good. Hopefully that answers the question, Azim. If you've got any more, just let us know. Let's have a little look at the next one. We've got I think this is, I don't know if you know, but know this person, but they've got Domino's Pizza Group Limited as their part of what they do. Caravania asks, what were the biggest weaknesses in the service desk that were addressed by the accreditation framework? Now we've covered some of those. Yeah. What was it pre like? I mean, you've been there a while now, right? What was it used to be like?
Easy. For me, reporting. I thought we did quite a lot of reporting, and I thought our reporting was actually really good. Turns out we were nowhere near the standards. There were things that I didn't think you could even report on, to be honest with you. We report on anything from everything I've shown on screen, but breach tickets that took longer than a couple of days to resolve, all the way through to like I say, the cost of tickets. I never even looked at the cost of a ticket before I looked at this journey. And for me, I just said, to the team, just fix it, that kind of thing. That's what it's not even thinking about the salary aspect of things. How much. It was only when we went on this accreditation that I started to look at, well, okay, we are now expected to know how much of a return on investment does our problem management sessions capture. How much ticket. How many tickets have we actually driven down, and the percentage of those tickets have we actually driven down due to being proactive, that type of things. So, I've built this huge report dashboard, and, I've now got Domino data, as we call it, internally. So our BI dashboard, which it's still a bit of a work in progress, but it's near on completion now, which is really good. So I'll hopefully be able to showcase that in our next audit. But for now, it's because of the API that's linked straight into the report. I can now get that information like that, which is before I would have to go away, export into CSV, start manipulating data manually, and it would take hours depending on what that person wanted or what I wanted to report on. And like I say, that for me was the biggest weakness that we had, was from a reporting aspect, because I just couldn't tell people how we were performing.
Yeah, interesting, really interesting. And again, I think certainly Halo, over the last couple of years or so, they've been at the forefront, haven't they? As one of the sort of, I think I read recently they're seen as a unicorn in that. So I mean, it's a cracking tool. So it's great you're getting that kind of difference being made. Simon again asks about the gamification. You mentioned that briefly. So what do you use? How do you gamify? Yeah, what things do you incentivize?
Yeah, so it would start off with quite an easy one, really. So the most feedback wins a voucher in a calendar month. We then changed that to, okay, I want more comments from customers, because customers can have the ability to either leave a comment or not. They can click a tag to say whether they were helpful, proactive, kind, polite, all that kind of stuff. So I would then flip that to, okay, I don't want to see the volume, I want to see the quality come through. So I want to actually see the comments come through from our customers. So again, when we would change that competition each month, I would say, right, go out to our customers and say, look, it's not about just leaving a click. It's about actually taking the 30 seconds or a minute, 2 minutes, whatever of your time, to just say how good we were. And if we were, and if we weren't, why weren't we? What could we do to improve? What could we do to be better? So then I would flip that to then the tags. And then most importantly, I think we would run that monthly, and then we would do a bigger quarterly one as well, for a bigger prize at the end of it. So and like I say, we incentivize them with vouchers, or they have asked for time off. I don't think I can allow that just as yet, because we're not that big of a team. But we can do many things, and it's at our disposal as well. We can do anything we want.
Yes, that sounds really cool. I mean, it's part of the framework, isn't it? When we look at the framework, it encourages, as part of people management, sort of ad hoc and formal reward and recognition. It's also be a very, very important part in an organization. I think certainly what we've seen over the years is, the support team, service desk is somewhere stuck under the cupboard, never sees light. And I think those days are changing a little bit, especially around how people value other people. And you talk like that, which is really cool. When you talked about empowerment, and that sort of that leadership thing. I've got a question, actually. I'll come away from the listeners' questions. I've got a question about that, about the sustained improvements that you've realized and are realizing, right? How do you maintain that? And what does you talked about that sort of mentoring type leadership. What role does leadership play in that? So sustained improvements. Yeah. How do you manage to keep that momentum?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, we've used the certification as a foundation to push, further. Our goal for me now is to try and get that 3-star and so on.
Yeah.
I appreciate that some things still don't apply to us. And to be honest with you, with the future of how I think service desks are going, we don't take phone calls, for example. So that whole concept's there. I can't demonstrate phone call stats, for example. But actually, early this year, I met with a partner to actually look at AI phone calls and to have people sort of phone number. They tell them it's problem. It will actually then dial in and log a ticket for them based on that. So we might be at 100% call rate and answer rate soon. You never know. But again, to support this, we've implemented regular check-in points using automated reminders. Again, using our ITSM tool Halo to review and update our processes and procedures, ensuring they remain relevant and effective. We've also improved our reporting again by transitioning from, like I say, your Excel reports to actual Power BI integration reports, which again has streamlined our insights. So, and additionally, we've embedded more AI, like I say, driven capabilities to enhance day-to-day capabilities. So, personally, the certification itself was more, like I say, was one of my proudest achievements. I personally remain, as a leader, committed to upholding those standards. I try to think I lead by example. For me, that is key. And for instance, when we recently onboarded a new team member in the last couple of months, we included a dedicated section as part of their onboarding to focus solely on what we achieved as part of our certification. So they go away, they look at there's a lot of documentation granted, but there's a lot of information there to pick up on, but solely dedicated to look at that and understand what that means for us as a team and how they can start abiding by that certification. Again, as a business, we're always looking to evolve. So for me, over the last 12 months, several organizational changes from various leadership teams and levels have further supported our goals, reinforcing again our commitment to continuous improvement.
Good. I mean, it's textbook stuff, right? But managing to get that momentum and seeing the results, I mean, that's not easy, so hats off to you on that. I think it's I've not met the team, I know we've sort of engaged along with, I think, your line manager at the time. It might be the same guy now, I don't know, over where you are now. We've engaged right from the start. So to see this this work come to fruition is brilliant to see, and representing what's got to be one of the biggest known brands, probably, that you'd expect to see in this industry, So I think that's brilliant. Just for the listeners, there are a couple of polls. You'll see the sort of second icon down. There are a few polls in there, and one or two about whether or not you like what we do, which is good. But there's one in there about certification program as well, right? So if you've got a chance before we finish, please do pop in there and answer some of these polls if you've got the time. Good. Let's go back to some of the listeners' questions then. Now I'm going to read this out, right? I've read it a couple of times sort of in my periphery, but I don't think it's going to make any sense until I read it out. This is from Alberto, and Alberto is talking about automation. So he says, if I find a task that's repetitive, I should pursue a way to automate, or if it's not applicable to all situations. So he's asking, like, what if I make a weekly report? It's a must to find a way to automate it, or where do I draw the line? If it works, we should keep that in a way. What I think that means, right? And apologies, Albert, if you want to type it again, please do. it's sort of where do I, the push for automation is automation. You've talked about it as well, right? At what point do you sort of stop that relentless push for automation if it's causing too much time, energy, too much, I don't know, right? Is there a break-off point that you've seen in some of the stuff that you've done where it's not worth doing the automation, but you could revisit it maybe, but right now it's not? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. I guess to answer that, if I answer it right, and again, Alberto, if I don't, feel free to connect. For me, yeah, there's always opportunities to, again, automate processes or certain tickets. In our instance, for example, the example I gave, which is, we were always getting alerts, or the constant alerts for either, like I say, CPU utilization or memories or all that kind of stuff. We sat there and thought, well, it's constantly creating tickets on our board. We don't have necessarily the time or capability to always action them at the time that they need to be. So why don't we create scripts and push out processes where it self-heals itself, or we can get to it quicker? How can we get alerted quicker as well? When it comes to stuff like reporting, again, there are still some reports that we still do manually, just because I like to double and triple check certain data. But again, there are probably plans to get that more automated. If something works for you, I would say, you can leave it. But if you think, actually, it is costing me a lot of time, it's a bit of a nightmare each week or each month to have to report back to. So, for example, for me, I have to report back to a board level, exec level, week in, week out. And for me, it was just consuming too much time. So I said to one of my guys, who bit of an ITSM expert, he and she both turned around and said, look, let's just try and help automate those reports for you. And now here we are, we're directly linking it into Power BI. I can actually give some visuals as well, which is good to see. And as you probably know, and everybody knows, that level, exec level, they love to see something visual. They want to see that improvement. They want to see lines going upwards and not downwards, kind of thing. So yeah, and if it does go downwards, just got to make sure that you are ready to answer those questions. So
yeah. Good. Okay, thank you, mate. I'll come back to some of these questions if I may. We've probably got, I don't know, under 10 minutes left, guys. So we got loads of questions. I mean, anything that we haven't answered, maybe, right, we'll hopefully we'll be able to do this, but record them and get them answered offline. If that's possible, Ash, Rob, I'm not sure, right? Maybe for days, that'd be great. Good. Okay. Involving stakeholders, especially from outside the service desk, right? How did you, because you need more than just the service desk. It's a very holistic model, isn't it? It's right across the business. How did you get the buy-in of people who needed to be part of the process, but might not be directly understand what it is, what you're trying to get as outcomes? How did you do that? How did you manage stakeholders?
Yeah, that came up quite a lot, actually.
Yeah.
From people in our communications team, people in our transport team. Transport, they look at lorries all day and they look at where the lorries are getting delivered. So when I asked them about this, they were like, what does that actually mean for us, kind of thing. So yeah, certainly we leveraged the Bringing Customer to Life platform to engage with external stakeholders. Again, during customer interviews, we used that as an opportunity to highlight our team's pursuit of the accreditation. We explained what it was from end to end, what it would mean to us, and actually where we went on to go to say, look, we've shouted out about this so loudly that even the services have got on this, the customer care team have got on this. It had that much of a positive impact on the delivery of it that, to be honest, the messaging that I gave them began to circulate around the business, and that grew momentum, which was really good, which was really nice to see, actually. And we even had volunteers step forward to sort of participate in the interviews when it comes to the audit as well, to say, look, I've noticed that over the last 12 months you were down here, you are now up here, and actually I want to be able to be part of that journey to say, this is what I've seen. Once we secured their support, again, we expanded our efforts internally. The initiative itself gained such traction that departments, like I say, operations, invited us to go on like UK stadium tours to help set up, across multiple venues and dates. And again, it's just a great example of how stakeholders, again, actively contributed and championed our certification journey.
Yeah, brilliant. That's again, brilliant, mate. Brilliant. I'm just going to put this slide up for anybody who'd like to download the best practice standard. There is a new version coming out, and Greg will need to get ready for this. Yes, it's a big deal, right? So we're going from version 8 to version 9. I've actually got a physical copy of this thing, which is absolutely, Greg, huge.
I can't wait. I heard about this at Spark, and I straight away was like, oh, here we go. So yeah, can't wait.
It's going to be interesting, I think, from not only from new organizations enter, but people moving from the version 8 to version 9. You can get a copy of that using that QR code there. And yeah, we've got a few minutes left. I mean, I think we're not going to get through all the questions. There is an interesting question there about how somebody starts in Domino's. How do they get a door in to an organization like Domino's? Maybe through IT. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, certainly. So again, whether it's through our franchisee partners or whether it's through DPG, our corporate side of things. So again, it's key to remember that. Look, go to our website. I'm not going to sit here and try and advertise us, but look, go to our website. We've got a careers section on there that is constantly. I work with our recruitment team day in, day out, just to sort of understand what's going on, what's happening in the industry. And yeah, if I was to give anyone sort of any advice to, if you are really interested in getting involved in Domino's world, the pizza industry, that kind of thing, and be part of genuinely a journey that I'm really looking forward to over the next 5-10 years plus, that's where I would start and have those conversations. And more importantly, if you know someone or want to reach out to me and I can try and help in any way, shape or form, then feel free to contact me.
Brilliant. Last question, I think. Apologies to anybody if I've missed any of the questions. Again, we'll try and take the ones that we have and pass them on to Greg. One recommendation, if you had to recommend one thing to make the SDC journey smoother for a first timer, right? Somebody's just getting into it or thinking about it. What would it be? What would it be, that recommendation? What would be your advice, Greg?
Honestly, I guess the support from the SDI team, and not to, whatever, the SDI team were outstanding, genuinely, from start to finish. From the moment I contacted them to, getting the purchase order signed off, through to the audit. By the way, again, a shout out to Steve, our auditor. He was fantastic. If you get an opportunity to work with him, by the way, really would recommend that, and collaborate with him if you can. But everyone was so approachable, so consistently supportive, and so on. For me, and it really is nitpicking, by the way, and I'm going to have to emphasize that bit. But if I had to suggest one area, I would say the audit planning tool. For me, a little bit clunky, but to be honest with you, it didn't stop anything. It didn't stop us from doing what we wanted to achieve, kind of thing. And I think, it just looks at that point just a little bit where it could be beneficial for some enhancements maybe to it, just that improve that experience and just make it a little bit smoother. But I am really nitpicking here, by the way. So overall, the journey genuinely was incredibly positive, I should say. Sorry.
Good. I'm glad. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next, mate, and especially the relationship between the two services and how that plays out. It'll be really interesting to watch that. Really interesting to watch that over the next couple of years or so. Good. I think that's it pretty much, Greg. I think it's been brilliant to listen to the story. I think the way that you've explained it clearly, very well articulated. So fantastic to listen to. I've certainly learned some stuff too. So thanks for joining us today. Look, it's been a pleasure, and hopefully we get a chance to do this again at some point in the future. Fingers crossed.
You know where I am. Definitely.
Exactly. Good. All right. So that's it for today, then, everybody. It's been a pleasure to be part of another SDI event, another webinar. Thanks again to Greg from Domino's for joining us and sharing that brilliant story. Thank you also to Ash and Robin at SDI for organising and managing today's webinar. And finally, thank you to our listeners for taking the time out to join us today, for asking the questions. We'll see you next time. And until then, good luck and stay safe, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.